All right, we're reviewing today's and yesterday's options trades. Um, do I want to review yesterday's? I might just review today's, honestly. I don't really have a lot of time. I don't want to bore you guys. We'll go over today's options trades. Futures was trash red day. Um, not gonna review that because there's some gray areas I have to work out. I'll let you guys know those gray areas afterwards. I don't think I was triggered into some of those trades though. So, but anyways, freaking wild market. Like this market drained all my brain cells today. Here's where we are at for market open. Nice trend line above on ES. Very nice trend line above actually. And I believe I may have just deleted all my drawings. I'll have to go back and replace those. Very nice trend line above. Here are our pivots. Let me hop on the 50-minute and just chart these real quick. For now, NQ stronger than ES, validating a majority of the drop. I'm leaning bullish for NQ to take out all-time highs. However, ES is also super weak and starting to potentially consolidate in demand. Now, you guys know that supply and demand have been price action has been very reactive to supply and demand. So leaning bullish when it's in demand. Here's a really big pivot down here, only missed by one tick. So pretty much a perfect double bottom. And then NQ's nearby pivots are here. All right. Well, market opened and NQ is more bullish than ES was. I did like Q calls, but it got a big selling wick. Couldn't tell if NQ was going to be weaker. Decided to just sit it out and kind of wait. And, well, I missed it. So, took out the all time highs. Now I'm starting to lean bullish for ES to get to supply. It did get to supply. I'm like, okay. Um, at this point right here, I told you guys, if we break into this supply bullishly with momentum on ES, so if we break over 76.16 ish, get to roughly here, this is a really nice trend line. I'll be bullish for a break to the upside on the trend line. And this pivot up here, the all-time high pivot, it's nearly a perfect double top on ES. It That's a pretty big deal because it only missed by one tick. So I'm bullish for this, very bullish for this break. Anytime we get within, I don't know, 20 points on ES of it. Nah, maybe not 20, like 15, 10 to 15 points. But to my surprise, we dumped. And I filled QQQ puts on this candle. This is where things start getting hectic and absolutely drained all my brain cells today because not only have I been practically not sleeping at all, but market is moving incredibly fast. Now, in the last candle, you'll pick up that NQ flipped a lot weaker than ES. I mean, even on this red candle, he has got a green one. But on this big red candle here, the first major red candle, ES had a small one. All right, that's bearish liquidity sweep on NQ. This bottom is actually a perfect double bottom on NQ. But this isn't like a major pivot here, so I didn't really call it out. But I am leaning bearish for this pivot to hit. So we traded Q puts, entered roughly halfway down on them. And was looking for this pivot, but you know, we'll in my mind, like we'll have to see because, like I said in the pre-market analysis, if ES gets to here and invalidates pretty much all this bounce, I'm going to be bearish for this pivot level. And yeah, so I also entered SPX puts here, and now I was going for the demand break on NQ. I didn't really sell any here on QQQ, so that's not what I was looking for. NQ started flipping strong. NQ put in a bullish liquidity sweep. and ES hit, and I sold. I didn't actually think NQ was going to come back down. Look how strong NQ was. I mean, it swept a valid pivot, just here. Not a huge one, but a valid one. Super strong reversal. I got 56% gains on those QQQ puts and 20% gains on the SPX puts. And I actually sold everything because, well, I usually leave runners, but I was very tired and the market's moving quick. So I just sold everything. Was the painful part is NQ dumped back downwards. And yeah, those puts proceeded to 4x after I got out. So even though every single trade I took was green today, was not happy or feeling good about it. And this is the reason why. Um, it was not a grand time for me. So I couldn't really do anything, really at all. Here was this major pivot, and here's this major pivot right here. At this point, I'm unwilling to chase. I have no idea why the market is vertical right now, but like the opposite of like downwards, but it's like flat. It's not, it's teleporting to the downside. I mean, this candle's massive. This is a 8-point, 9-point candle on ES. That doesn't happen. So I don't chase it, and it just freaking continues. And here's the next pivot. And here is where I call out, okay, now I'm starting to become very bearish. I said it in all caps for this big pivot on ES. It only missed it by a single tick, 75, 76.25. So I'm looking for the break of this pivot, at least a sweep. And very bearish for that pivot if we get down a little bit more. I'm trying to look for excuses to enter. Give me some kind of small bounce, some kind of tiny consolidation. You know, it may be a risk trading futures and chasing trend, much bigger risk trading options and chasing because the implied volatility is massive. And if I accidentally catch the bottom and it even bounces a little bit, well, when it comes back down, I'm still going to be down 20%. I'm not going to break even until down here. So that's kind of my issue. But then this freaking candle happened. So this candle happened, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to have to chase it. Because there's nothing. It's barreling through everything. So I actually hop into puts, SPX puts on this candle. PT is here. I have to be half size, which is had me in a bad mood pretty much all day because futures was count the cherry on top for my mood, but I had to be in half size because this is literally a textbook chase, but the pivot is such a big deal that it overrides me chasing it for me. And it literally hit one candle and I was out of the trade. Which was nice. I got 30% gains, but if it consolidated or something, I should have made so much more. That would have been a trade that I'd be super, super heavy in. But it didn't happen. Then this candle happened. This is a bullish reversal candle. That looks really good for a potential liquidity sweep. Now, you could pull the trigger here. I didn't because we did, like I have no idea what the hell is going on this morning. It's just straight down. Like this is straighter down than any morning nearly this year, at least to my recent memory. So I'm catching up on my channel. I started eyeballing SPX calls. Here was kind of the fib I was working with. I'm like, okay, that is a textbook sweep. We have not only a major pivot sweep, but we have a major buying wick and a major volume spike, all very, very big deals. I'm thinking we can get to the 38.2%, but we'll see because, you know, I need to see. Well, it's interesting because NQ actually flipped stronger than ES, which I didn't really expect. So I decided to wait a little bit. And yeah, right around right here, it was is looking really good. Didn't really pull the trigger though. Was still, I wanted to see how this would be tested a little bit, and then this candle's where ES started to look stronger. Got a bigger green candle. NQ nearly put in a doji, and then we pulled back. I'm like, okay, this is a decent. This is a decent dip buy. going for the 50%. And that's what I did. Now, this was a really light trade for me, though, because usually I only go to the 38.2%. But, the way this swept and the amount of momentum it got and how fast this morning dropped, I'm kind of thinking there's a chance that this can go all the way back up, or at least at the 61.8. So that's what I'm thinking. NQ unfortunately flipped super weak. I got 10% gains here, though. Took a heavy trim. Only a whopping 10%. So because the contracts were chopping a lot. So I didn't really hold much. I held one extra call for the actual 50% fib. And here, NQ started flipping a lot stronger than ES. And it's here with ES starting to kind of bullishly consolidate again, maybe, while NQ stronger, that I'm thinking NQ is going to get to supply. Now, all these trades except this one happened really, really, really fast. Today was kind of a fluke if you're trying to follow alerts. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you could have traded the TA that I sent out and you would have done much better, but if you actually tried following me, you would have missed pretty much everything. If you don't know what you're doing. Well, you can see here that ES is starting to like bullishly consolidate. And I'm like, this looks really good. Because ES is starting to chop down a little bit. NQ is a lot stronger than ES. I think NQ is a good shot to supply. And one little trick is when you have a really major fib line up with supply or demand, and it's usually the 61.8 that'll do it, it'll increase the odds. Or at least statistically, it's more likely over time that it actually gets to that zone if it perfectly lines up with a pivot. And a fib. And it pretty much does. So I did call out this final trade. QQQ calls, 65 cents. And yeah, it was a really clean trade, much slower, much more normal trade. And that did very well. Got 38% gains on that trade before it started chopping around. So that was my morning. This trade still the best I got on the SPX calls were 10%. But really my morning was plus 56% on QQQ puts, which was nice. A painful plus 20% on these SPX puts that soon after went up 300%. Whopping 10% here and 38% here. So just a bunch of green trades. But it was still a very painful morning with how much money was left on the table. And it's not even just money left on the table as far as the drop goes. I'm kind of past that in my trading career. I've been trading for too long to be caring about that stuff. What I do care about, though, is the fact that this beautiful pivot, which has been on my radar for days now, since June 1st, so Monday. I even told you guys at nighttime, hey, this massive, massive pivot barely missed. If we come back down within range of it, I will be in there like underwear for that pivot to break. Watching that pivot break and me not really being able to make much on it, just 30% on a less than a normal size trade, pissed me off because that's a rare opportunity there, and I wasn't able to seize the opportunity to the fullest extent. But overall, that's pretty much my options day, and I'm gonna personally review my futures day because futures was freaking trash today. But also, yesterday's futures absolutely drained my psychology, so I don't think I'm operating nearly at 100% capacity. So I got to do a lot of the stuff that I tell you guys to do today. I got to reset, go back through my journal review, all of that, audit, all of that stuff. And I'll let you guys know what those results are. All right. I mean, that was my options this morning. Does anyone have any questions? Here's where we're at now. Both flag just kind of broke to the upside. Just rejected the supply again. Lots of supply and demand action lately. Lots of it. Supply and demand indicator has been absolutely kicking ass. It's been awesome to see it in action over the last few weeks. But does not look like anyone has any questions. So, all right. We have a lesson in 30 minutes, folks. So in 30 minutes, we have a lesson. And yeah, make sure you're there for that. Or just over 30 minutes. 30 minutes after market close. Today we're talking about the next steps. You start backtesting, you start collecting data. What do you do now? And that's what we're going to go over. All right. I'll let you guys know when this is posted, and I'll see you guys in premium stage for or to continue our future strategy development course. See you guys later.